Oh my God, she won't like Dan at all.
The fingers just start going all over.
We go, hey, Mr. Spell Check. We did that on the. That's how we introduce him now.
All right, guys, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds, all quiet, and I'll count you in.
Thanks, Happy.
So we got our IMDb, so we'll just move this over so you can see it.
Perfect. Are we? Oh, hey, ho, hey, ho, ho. Theme song.
Okay.
Jingle the cable, will ya?
Good morning. It's Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday in the Southland, people.
On the Jeff Sargent Show.
The Jeff Sargent Show. This is Pat Janky Jankowitz, the man who carries this lazy hillbilly across the finish line.
And the third amigo. Oh my God, look through the glass.
A guest amigo.
We interrupt this program to introduce Jimmy Shaw, the third amigo.
Jimmy Shaw is the third amigo. Say something, Jimmy.
It is 12 hours early. It is the Roy and Jimmy thing right here on chaoticradio.com.
I'm Roy.
I'm Roy.
Oh, Roy. Where's Roy? Where the hell is Roy?
No, finally I get to be on this madhouse circus you guys call the Jeff Sargent 3 U's Husker Du Till Day show.
Joel and Jimmy Shaw stepping in to save our asses.
Yes, all right.
Thank you, Jimmy.
It is the morning here on chaoticradio.com with you guys.
I know, so you don't disrespect the guy whose chair you're filling. No rehab stories and no clown stories, please.
Yeah. If you want to misspell something on the air, go ahead. As long as we can't see it.
You know I've got 5 jokes in the pocket right now. So I will not disrespect. Man, do I want to. Anyway, pleasure to be here, guys.
No, we're honored to have you, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
And today, we're going to wait for our guest. We have the beautiful Dawna Lee Heising.
Well, and not only are we happy to have her, but we can't wait for her. We're going to start the show, baby.
Oh, hey, should we start the show?
Time waits for no blonde. So this is the Jeff Sargent Show, and I'm Jeff Sargent. If you got any questions,
Pat Jankowitz.
I'm Jeff Sargent.
And I'm Dan. I was wondering if you guys No, I don't do cocaine anymore. Never mind.
You may not
sound just like
you may no longer do cocaine, but I'm still a pedophile.
You guys got some bad labels going on. I don't know if you watch the news, but hashtag stop.
Nope. I like how Jimmy's like Jimmy's like Stromboli and Pinocchio. He's come to straighten our ass out.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Man, my career is over right now.
Are you kidding? Having you in the studio?
My agent told me, and this is Dutchie's my agent, he's like, get off that bloody show.
Oh, thank God, you racist. I thought you said my Asian told me.
Don't make fun. No shit talking against the other talent.
My Asian, my Dutchie, Roy, everybody.
Your Asian called from Arcadia.
My British Asian friend co-host Roy told me.
I don't believe he exists.
I know this.
It's cool.
Hey, everyone, watch the tapes when you watch the Roy and Jimmy show. Jimmy is always sitting alone in the booth, but you hear Roy perfectly clear.
Well, you notice if you look at Roy's mouth, there's 2 little lines going by his jaw, and Jimmy, I heard you're a ventriloquist, so I think I'm putting 2 and 2 together.
The jig is up. It's basically a weekend at Bernie's.
Oh,
here we go.
Every Tuesday night here on Chaotic Radio.
You're so good at making dummies talk. I'd like to have you in here when Jeff isn't.
Bernie was so pickled, for a dead guy that he went for 2 hours in a movie without rotting
in the sun,
decaying in the sun, in the salt water.
Well, the two things about Weekend at Bernie's. It was one of those movies where they wanted to build word of mouth. And so they didn't charge anyone on 4th of July weekend, on the 4th of July itself. They didn't charge anyone to come see the movie.
Jeez.
And the other thing they did before the movie is, fun fact, if you look this up, this is where they unveiled The Simpsons. The Simpsons short of them electrocuting each other ran in front of the Weekend at Bernie's free screening.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. And it was directed by Ted Kotcheff. Ted Kotcheff is an amazing filmmaker. Australians love him because he made a movie called Wake Up and Fright, where Donald Pleasance in this whole eccentric town in Australia greet this guy who gets stuck in this town of weirdos. And it's a weird, every Brit and every Australian loves this movie. I'm fascinated by it. When I saw it, it was like a tone poem. You watch it and you think that's it. But filmmakers from England and Australia love this movie. Ted Kotcheff, who did such a great job at Weekend at Bernie's, he's the director of the original Rambo movie, First Blood.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah, he truly is. And the other weird thing, you already know what Ted Kotcheff looks like. Ted Kotcheff plays the hero's dad, who walks in on him and his girlfriend in Weekend at Bernie's at the beginning. Remember when his dad comes in the underpants? And he's trying to sell to the female lead. He's trying to sell his father as his brain-addled butler.
Hey, before we get too far, guys, I'm going to throw a little profession on you here.
Please.
If anybody has any questions for these guys or our guests, the phone number here is 909-360-8330. And also, we're on YouTube.com. Search Chaotic Radio Live. 3 words, chaotic with a K. We're live streaming. We have a chat room in there. Tune in. Ask these knuckleheads. I don't advise...
What? Oh, my God, I'm so
I don't
offended.
advise the video. These guys are horrific. Oh, my... Pat's a beast. I mean, just you got to adjust the knobs a little bit on this one.
Yeah, otherwise his head will get cut off.
How dare you?
Oh, should I give out the number in my radio voice?
Yes.
Yeah, Buzzington. What was the number?
Hey, Buzzard Berman here with Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. Hey, Siggy, if you want to call in, call 909-360-8330. Buzzard Berman here. Call in Chaotic Radio.
You sound like a movie extra who's been allowed to talk for the very first time.
Oh, how dare you?
That's where the second AD says, dude, come on.
Yeah, back to holding.
We got this, okay?
Hey, thanks so much.
Speaking of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, they rebooted it, didn't they?
They did.
Pat and I were at the Improv Sunday night, and Johnny Whitaker was there, and he plays a salty sea captain in the new Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
I laughed so hard.
Can you believe that shit?
Why would you do that?
Jim, but the weird thing is the kid now looks like Johnny Whitaker now looks like Popeye's father.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just...
What? Whoa! Whoa! Where's me spinach?
I totally fell for it when I was little, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I totally fell for it.
When's the last time you watched it?
I might have YouTubed it for our show maybe 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
I've interviewed Felix Sella for my book. I did a book on Buck Rogers, and one of the cool things about you watch the show, and Felix might guest in one of the costumes, but the show is so bad that the little people are inside the costume pushing. Sigmund's eye will suddenly bulge out because there's a little person trying to get air.
That was Billy Barty.
Yeah,
that's right.
The most famous little person in the world.
That's right. That had those odd body movements. That's right.
But suddenly his eye would bulge out like a David Cronenberg movie, and then as this little guy is just trying to
missing that ooh guy.
Yeah. And what's amazing is you look at like a Sigmund or anything by Sid and Marty Krofft. The costumes are dirty and torn. Because they were shooting them all. So Puff and Stuff had a studio, but most of them were shot on the cheap over at Channel 5.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
And I remember they would tape the Osmond Show, which was also produced by Sid and Marty Krofft. I interviewed Dinah Girl, and of Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, and she would say, there'd be a bunch of bored Osmonds, not Donnie, not Marie, sitting around watching them tape their show because there was nothing for them to do.
Right.
You know?
Oh,
And
wow.
Deirdre Hall, was that?
Oh, I wish it was Deirdre Hall. I interviewed Judy Strangus, who played Dawna Girl, who, by the way, even though that show was from the 70s, she looked exactly the same. She was crazy hot. You know,
Hey, calm down.
she had this girl. She had this girl next door. She had a girl next door vibe going on. Deirdre Hall also looks really good. I stood behind her in line at Starbucks and kept myself from. This is what Dawna Girl told me. She goes, Deirdre Hall's first gig. This is why you can't find any Deirdre Hall movies from that period on cable or anything. Deirdre Hall's first gig was Electra Woman and Dawna Girl.
Wow.
She called in for a half day one day. She was going to be half hour late. And this is like 76, 77, the other girl told me. Because she was auditioning for Days of Our Lives.
Oh.
She's been on Days of Our Lives for 41 years.
Since then.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about Susan Lucci. This gal.
This gal has been on the same show, same character, 41 years.
Wow.
So I was really impressed.
So that's like Jeff. He's been playing that character for how long, Jeff? 50 years?
Something like that.
Ever since his mother didn't get enough oxygen in her womb.
How dare you? There was plenty of oxygen. What are you talking about?
And the doctor came out to help her, and he said, "What can I do for you, ma'am?" And she goes, "I was late for the abortion. My water broke."
Well, you got her cool mustache. That's awesome.
I was wondering, why do I have mustache in my baby pictures? I thought they were drunk.
Yeah, it was your mother's.
Why am I finding this shit out 50 years later?
Jeff thought that was the crease where they folded the picture. It's actually a little pencil thin kind of.
His mother didn't want to scare off any suitors.
You guys stop it. My mother said I was the cutest baby ever.
See? Well, you always talk about, obviously, movies and industry and stuff. I was an extra in 2 movies.
No,
let's hear it. Do tell.
Was, back in, I believe, 87 or 88. The Malcolm Mowbray movie, Out Cold, with Terry Garr and John Lithgow.
Shut him on Baldy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
At the time, I
and
knew
Bruce McGill, who played D-Day.
Yes. At the time, I knew the owner of the Ice House. So I got to be an extra on that for like 4 days. Me and Roy.
Wow. Roy's in it, too?
Yeah, and I'm actually got cut out of a scene, but Roy's in it. You can see Roy. When they come into the lodge to meet up, they're at the bar, where John Lithgow's at the bar, and he's got the shell. And so when they all come in the front door, they stop for a quick moment and turn and come in. That's Roy standing at the doorway.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. We got to do some research here.
And what's the other one?
The other one was Great Outdoors.
Wow.
That was same location, the Ice House. You don't see me, but I was in it.
But you're talking to the one over on Baldy, right?
Yeah, the one in Baldy. No, the scene where he's eating the old 96er.
Yes. The porter steak.
I'm in that crowd there, and I'm actually right behind him when they do that close-up with where he's shaking, trying to get that last grizzle in.
Wow. Yeah. One of the famous stories is that supposedly Aykroyd was a hothead with the cook, the guy making his food the guy at the Ice House was making his food, and supposedly Aykroyd was temperamental and angry with the guy.
Yeah.
But my brother later wrote a Dan Aykroyd movie that was shot in Monrovia, and every time I saw Aykroyd after that, he was always cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but the story on him on Baldy, when he was on Baldy, he was supposedly yelling at the guy making the food. And depending which version you heard, the guy either took revenge or didn't. If you know what I'm saying, and I think you do.
Yeah, I think we might know this one. I love that scene. He's just, you're not done yet.
The director, by the way, of that went on to marry, the director of that, Howard Deutsch, went on to marry Leah Thompson, went on to marry the hot mother from Back to the Future.
Is that Howard the Duck?
Howard Deutsch. She's in Howard the Duck.
Right.
Oh, my God. Howard the Duck. That was another box office success, wasn't it?
That was pretty awesome. I got to stand next to Terry Garr. And,
wow. How was she?
Now, if you're our age and you're standing next to Terry Garr, Oh,
Boing.
Go ahead and play that special effects sound, Jimmy.
No, you guys have been doing it. I'll just play yesterday's show.
Doing.
But yeah, and John Lithgow, he was the sweetest man.
That's what I heard. I'm really happy to hear he wasn't an a-hole.
And that's where I first did stand-up, was during that set, because you're on the set 13, 14-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had there's a stripper scene in there. There's a stripper in the background. They had the pole there. So we were bored waiting for setups and all that. I went on stage, did my first 10 minutes.
Wow, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
No, it was fun. When you guys were talking about movies, I'm like, yes. And I'd bag on the second AD. I'm like, he's getting us wrong. We're supposed to cross right here. We're not supposed to cross there. That guy was holding the cup. This guy was doing that. So I really got too far into it.
Now, was the stripper, did they grab some local girl to show her breasts, or did they actually hire,
It's actually, they hired an actress. A friend of mine who was actually an extra with me on that, she sent me a link going, hey, this is Debbie the stripper. And she's actually an actress who's just been, a character actress all these years.
Well, I'm sure she's not playing strippers now.
No, I'm sure she's got range.
Wow. Yeah, you can see her trying to strip with the journal.
Yeah.
The first time I met Pat was on the set. We were waiting in the food line.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
On Teen Wolf
2.
And Teen Wolf 2 at Claremont Colleges. And I go, who's this guy making these, who's this verbally abusive guy making fun of the second AD from Howard the Duck? Pointing his that.
I later talked to the one of the female leads in that. The company was going bankrupt. Atlantic Releasing. Remember them? They made Atlantic Releasing, long gone. They were going bankrupt, and their only hit after a string of bombs. I think they produced The Last Dragon and all this other stuff. After a string of bombs, the only movie they had made money was Teen Wolf, because they had a Michael J. Fox comedy right before Back to the Future. So they made Teen Wolf 2, even though they didn't have Michael J. Fox.
They had to use Jason Bateman, his cousin. Yeah.
Because Michael J. Fox played the TV brother of Jason Bateman's sister. It was so incestuous, they thought, well, we'll grab her real-life brother and have him play Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's weird.
And what happened is people, because it was non-union, people kept driving down from LA to slash their truck tires.
Jeez. That's horrible. They're cruel, man.
Sugar in the tanks and everything else.
And that's why they had an open call for all this. And then, there wasn't anything left to eat after, because him and his brother were ahead of me. Craft services.
Like I said, tune the video in and see Pat. Jesus.
Thank you, I think. Hold on.
What's his name?
Hold on. There's a blonde enchantress appearing before us.
Oh! Whoa! Oh, my God!
Wow. Hey, no, you're here, baby. That's all that matters. Here you go.
Oh, my God. Dawna Lee Heising is in the studio.
Hello, Your Highness. A pleasure.
Jimmy, what do we do? Where's the headphones?
Right here.
Unplug.
It's your show, guys. I don't know where I'm right here.
Oh, you look great, by the way.
Hey, there you go. Headphones.
Side feed microphone, Dawna.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
You want some water? You want a bottle of water?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
We already pulled up your IMDb.
You guys are pros. Look at that. You got a microphone, headphones.
We're way ahead of you. Yes.
We are
Can we hear
set.
it?
This place is lit.
We were ready for you 2 weeks ago.
Oh, thank you. Well, Dawna, that's Jimmy.
That's Jimmy. Jimmy Shaw in the window.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, so you've been talking to me then.
And you can hear us, Dawna?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right.
How is traffic coming here?
There was no traffic, but I came from Huntington Beach.
Wow.
And I just thought, I thought I could get here in an hour and a half, and I couldn't.
I can't get up the street in an hour and a half.
Great job, man. You got here pretty quick then.
But this place is great.
Yes.
Isn't it?
That's what you got to tell all your friends, all these Hollywood people going, can I call in? It's Rancho Cucamonga. That's like, they think it's driving to Palm Springs or something, you know, or Vegas.
We have the deliriously delightful Dawna Lee Heising with us right now. Heising?
Heising.
So I'm so sorry. You know, she's done a ton of films, of which we're going to ask her of many. Oh, may I see your resume? Wow.
Yeah, I had to bring my resume.
Wow.
so I could remember what's coming up.
Robo Woman with Dustin Ferguson.
I'm so excited about that one.
Tell us about Robo Woman.
Well, it's like the role of a lifetime, and I've done 3 films with Dustin so far, and then I'm doing 2 more in March, and then I'm going to Missouri to do a film. But we're going to do Robo Woman after that, and it's kind of like the $6 Million. Was there a woman?
Yes. The Bionic Woman.
I don't know.
Was there a woman? She's the one who
She
destroyed
was
the
$6.
She destroyed the show.
She was the $6 million woman.
Once a woman could do everything Steve Austin could, it was over.
Well, you know, actually, I watched the $6 Million Man. I just wanted to make sure I got
Lee
the
Majors,
title
little
right.
Eddie,
Yeah, that was great. So anyway, she turns into something like that. She gets raped by a bunch of guys, and she goes and
That never happened in any episode of Bionic Woman I saw.
It did Jodie Foster on a pinball machine. What movie was that?
She wasn't bionic. That's
The
accused. Wow. So you've just talked me out of Robo Woman.
No, it's going to be great, though. I'm really excited. I've been taking martial arts for 2 years, and I actually I started taking it because I wanted to be in action films, but we just did Nemesis 5, and
No, those are the ones that used to shoot in Israel, right? Nemesis 1 and 2 were shot in Israel with the robot, right?
were they? Well, they have
One
a
was called
robot.
the American something. The robot looks like a bunch of cans, you know what I mean? A big round head.
What's by Albert Pune?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. The first one is a classic. I mean, the first one was Oliver Gruner.
Yes, and the second
And-
one's Tim Thomerson.
Okay. But I know the first one had Carrie. God, I never can remember. his
Carrie
last
Stevens.
name. The Japanese, the really famous Japanese. Hiroki.
Hiroki.
Yeah, see, it's 2
Hiroki,
names.
remember?
Hiragawa or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Carrie Hiroyoki.
Remember, we hung out with him at the convention.
Because I did a cover story on him for Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, he's fantastic. I just,
Extremely nice guy.
I saw him
know
at
that?
Night of 100 Stars last year. And so
That's the
I should
Joe
know his
Williamson
name.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the Joe Williamson thing, right? And it was held at Sportsman's Lodge?
No, Night of 100 Stars was Ed Lotze and Norby Walters.
Okay.
Okay, it's like an Oscar night.
So let's get your origin story. Let's start from the beginning.
Where were you born?
Oh
Where
my
are you
God!
from?
You did a movie with another one of our guests. You did Pond Scum, directed by Mark Savage, the great Mark Savage.
Mark Savage was here?
Mark Savage was sitting in that very
He
chair.
was our guest.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah, Mark's a good friend of mine.
We love Mark.
Yeah, he lives in Laguna Beach.
He does, and
Pat's known him forever.
we've known him since we were kids in Michigan. He directed he co-directed one of our 8mm movies.
Oh, my gosh.
He was in Michigan for the summer, and we became friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mark's done tons of things. I mean, he worked for a distributor. He worked for Orion.
Mark works for Orion. We had him on for 2
not
hours.
now, but he used to work
No, but
for
I did not know that. We had him on the air for 2 hours. We never knew about the Ryan story. Wow.
No, well, I mean, he's done so many things. I think he used to edit for them.
Wow.
He's just so he's
Got a lot of
talented.
talent, and he's got
Yeah.
a real talent for really cool camera angles.
His angles are his latest one. He has this amazing angle from the ceiling, which we talked about him on the air with, where he
Purgatory
literally.
Road.
Yes, have you seen the Purgatory Road? Has this amazing shot where the camera is on the ceiling through the ceiling fan.
Oh, okay.
And you see the dead body on below the fan, and you're
Yeah.
hovering, going like this.
Yeah,
Great
it's-
shot. Who'd think of that? You know?
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah. Mark is amazing. I mean, the camera angle. It's my favorite shot this year. Of anything I've seen this year.
Well, let's take it back. Where were you born? Where are you from, man?
Well, I'm okay. My nationality, I'm Chinese, Japanese, and American Indian. And how that happened is I had one of my ancestors came over from China and had a baby with an Indian when they were working on the railroads, the California railroads.
I'm not sure they had. I'm not sure they.
That was in the 1800s.
Yeah, your relatives were fast workers.
Tonto.
They said no. Hey,
I'm just kidding.
Hey, address your letters to Jeff Sargent, not the non-racist co-host Pat Jankowitz does not want to. Jeff's wondering why Jeff almost wore a coolie hat today. There we go.
Carry on, Dawna. We're being silly.
Okay. Well, anyway, well, that's a really important story to me because my dad came over from China when he was 10. From Toisan, China. He came over by himself, and he lived in the back of a laundry until he was 15, and then he joined the Air Force. And so he died 5 years ago.
Wow.
But in his lifetime, I mean, he joined the Air Force at 15, and obviously his relatives had to do something to get him in there. But the Air Force was the best thing that ever happened to him. They trained him in computers, and he graduated from Stanford and SC, and then when he was 70, he went back and got a degree in teaching, and he went back and taught at a high school.
Wow.
So that's part of my origin story, and then my mom is Japanese, and my mom was a nurse, and my mom was voted the most beautiful woman in her high school in San Diego.
Wow.
She was in the Poston camp, the war relocation camp with George Takei, and her brother is Tak Fujimoto, who is the
does famous DP of Breakfast Club and about 100 other movies. He did a lot of stuff. Yeah, wow.
You know everything.
Tak Fujimoto is amazing.
Yeah, he is. He's a legend. I mean, he's in textbooks.
He's not only that. He Kodak put him in ads about 2 years ago in all the trades. It was him talking about his favorite film stock, and it was him holding the camera on his shoulder.
Oh wow!
Wow. Well, tell us, Dawna.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, it's amazing, you know. Tell us about being a cage dancer in the original Blade Runner.
Oh my gosh, you were in the one of my favorite films of all times.
Oh, well, it was amazing. That was one of my first jobs, and I was on the set for at least 3 weeks. I mean, and we shot at night, and it was in
on the Universal backlot. Which backlot were you?
Yeah, and it was at night, and I also played a prostitute in it. At the time, I had dark hair, you know, because I played a lot of Asian prostitutes.
How much did they cost back then?
And he's wondering.
I was a free dancer.
Yeah, he was wondering if. No, I'm not finishing that sentence. No, Dawna. The question I was going to have is, since you were shooting it, are you the prostitute scene on the street in the big rain covered street, the Bradbury building?
And I was wearing a green
All right,
dress.
that was you.
Wow.
So, but you know, I was also a dancer in it. So
you were a replicant, right? Were you a
No, I wasn't. But I got to see the scene where Daryl Hannah does the backflips.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, it was so amazing. It was just amazing.
How much of it was Daryl Hannah? How much was a stunt woman or stunt man?
Yeah. I love handsprings like that.
It was one of my first jobs, so I didn't know the difference.
Wow, smart. Wow. Oh no!
I got to see Ridley Scott.
I was about to say, give us a Ridley Scott story.
Tell us.
I don't have any stories. He was just amazing, you know. And just being my first job, and you know, being on the set with Ridley Scott and Daryl Hannah, and it was amazing.
Wow. Wow. In 3 weeks on Blade Runner, on the original Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you also did John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. The actor you mentioned, Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, that was his first movie. He was an extra on Big Trouble. And John Carpenter noticed what a great look he was making as he was walking down the street. So he put him up on the put him up on the cherry picker, so everyone could see him mad mug the way he was going to walk and look. Oh. So that was Carrie's first movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now, were you in the big ending with Lopan, or were you during the earlier scenes? Or
I was. Well, that's another one where I worked on it for like a week or something. But then I was a priestess, like in the I think James Hong was up on the chair.
Yes.
And we were all lined up on the side of him.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great scene.
Yeah, so I was like one of those priestess people.
So you were hanging with Kim Cattrall and the actress playing Mao Yin. Nothing happened to her after that. She was like a U5 in Rambo. And supposedly she was a penthouse pet or something.
Oh,
but
is that? Oh.
Remember the female lead in Big Trouble? She just disappeared off the face of the earth. Not Cattrall, the other one.
Was she the lead in Rambo?
No, that was Julie Nixon.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
She's one of the. In First Blood, she's one of the villagers in the original First Blood during the flashbacks.
Oh, okay.
And she has like no dialogue. And then,
but she was gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She has a great look, but she just disappeared off the radar. No low budget or anything else after that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I was, at that time I was really new too, so I really didn't know anybody. I mean, but you kind of bond, with the rest of the cast when you're on the set with them that long.
Oh, so give us a Kurt Russell or John Carpenter story.
I wish I could. I mean, it's like I don't really have anything except that the sets were amazing in those days. Going from working on those type of films where you're there a week and like maybe 3 scenes get shot and you have all these gorgeous sets and the craft service is like amazing. And, you go to wardrobe every morning and they do your makeup. It's just a different world. I mean, like everything I worked on before I left the business was like that. I mean, they were big productions and it was like you dream of Hollywood being.
Wow.
And then
because you were when you made these movies, that was pre the CG era where you would have these massive, fully immersive sets. Now you walk on and it's like green screen and CG, right? There's like no sets, right?
Well, since I came back 7 years ago, I've been doing indie films. So, that's completely different. I mean, there's no craft services.
Wow. That's right. That's right.
What I mean?
Yeah, you're not in the Universal lot anymore, Blondie.
No. And so those are the days that I remember. But the best thing about now is that my roles are bigger and I get to act. It's like, it's not just, I had really small roles in these big films when I first started. And I've been a dancer my whole life, so dancing, was easy. But now, this next year is just going to be wonderful because I'm doing leads, thanks to Dustin Ferguson. And he needs to come on your show. He lives in Marietta now.
Bring him on. If you got any of your friends that we're.
I want to get Dustin on here. He just moved
Marietta,
from
Georgia. It'll take him 3 days to get here.
No, he's in Marietta, California, which is I don't know how far is that from here.
It's our guest yesterday came from Temecula, so.
Well, our last director was the great Mark Savage, so he's got big boots to fill.
Okay. Well, Mark is fantastic. Mark's my friend, and he's a legend. Dustin is really young. He's in his 30s, early 30s, but he's made 50 films. I sound like his publicist.
Yeah, you do.
I really am. I am Dustin. I am an advocate for Dustin because he's just brought my career so far. I've done.
Oh, also, Mark Savage says hi to you on the phone.
Oh,
yeah, text. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh, well, tell him hi. I haven't seen him in ages. We're supposed to go to lunch, but I've been doing movies.
Well, no, this is good.
Doing movies.
Hey, somebody has to work with Robo Woman.
Well,
No, are you the Asian? Oh, go on.
I've been doing films with Dustin, actually. I did, I started out with Meat Hook Massacre, and then I did Amityville, Evil Never Dies.
Now, did you rebuild the Amityville house out here, or was the house?
No, I did those two in Nebraska. I flew back to Nebraska, and Dustin found a house there.
That looked like the Amity house?
Yeah, that looked exactly like it. And, you know, Dustin does indie films, but he's also moving up. Nemesis 5, I went back there, and but it's going to be my best scene yet, and I get to fight the girl who's the star in it, and she kills me. But
No!
Spoiler alert.
Don't die!
So you Donna Lee Heising obsessives. Donna Lee dies in the last film she talks about.
I die in a lot of films.
Donna dies at the end. That would be a good movie.
Donna do die in Amityville, the evil escapes.
You know, that's okay if I die because it's like I have a small part in Nemesis, but it's a great part.
Are you killed by the girl or the robot?
I won't tell you that. Okay.
I'm turning off your mic until you answer the question.
No, you have to see the film.
Wow.
And it's going to be released soon.
And Amityville, the Evil Escapes, shot, ironically, even though Amityville, the horror, takes place in Long Island, you shot the sequel in Nebraska.
Well, there's a bunch of sequels to Amityville.
So the ghosts in the Nebraska one have no accent.
Actually, I was in that film with Mark Patton. And
Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Yes, he was the star in it. And Helen Udy.
Oh, wow. Helen Udy,
yeah,
she does a lot of Brian Usna movies.
Yeah, and she was in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. She was
Oh,
the
you know,
Oh my God!
You know what?
He's
I
got
love her.
stories about that.
She's also, Helen also starred in, the massacre. Remember the guy with the drill is killing all the high school girls?
Toolbox.
No, after that.
Something.
I know she worked with David DeCoteau a lot.
She what?
She worked with David DeCoteau a lot.
Yeah. David DeCoteau. She's Helen Udy is great. She's just wonderful.
I'm going back to Missouri the first week of April to work with her in a film called "'Twas the Telltale Krampus Carol," and that's with Jake Selch.
Wow.
And Luc Bernier is the star in it, and I'm working with Helen in it, and I'm playing. It's kind of like a take on the Christmas Carol, and so I'm playing the ghost, and I bring all the three sections together. That's going to be fun.
Are you killed by the Krampus in that, or because you're a ghost, you're already dead?
No.
You've got a lot of pre-production stuff set up here. A lot of and post-production.
Well, that's why I brought my resume, because I didn't want to.
I appreciate that, by the way. Thank you.
I didn't want myself to forget anything.
You worked with David, but go on. You were saying, I'm sorry. I was excited. I saw you had Kung Fu with David Carradine on there.
Yeah, I was a villager in that.
Wow.
Did you ever do martial arts as a kid or a teenager? Or?
No. Well, I've done kickboxing, for a long time as exercise, and then I've taken ballet my whole life.
Oh, wow.
I've taken pole dancing for like 10 years.
We might need an impromptu demonstration. No.
I can do it. I'm wearing my shoes.
Holy moly.
No, but actually,
Jimmy frowned, so I decided not to.
I did not frown. That was not a frown. You got a light refraction thing. I don't know where you got
don't have
frown
a
from.
pole here.
Well, I am Polish, and I'm 6'9". Maybe I can stand in the middle of the room.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
This was the Jeff Sargent show.
We're all going to jail. Thank you, Me Too movement.
So you're good with fluid movements. Well, I know that because I mean,
Jesus, do you hear yourself?
I don't want to talk about it.
I know Jeff because I did a film with Jeff.
We did a few. We remember
Cold
that
Plastic.
one. We were in Beverly Hills. Remember with Johnny Lipnicki?
Jeff just did a
The
movie.
Jerry Maguire kid,
Jeff
grown
just financed and produced his own film.
You showed up with your microphone, and we were in Beverly Hills at that big mansion with the swimming pool and the tennis court.
Oh,
you had some problems on one.
Oh, man, did I tell you about that?
No, you were going to tell me, but I never got the finished
Let's
story.
hear it.
I don't think I can talk about that publicly.
It's okay.
All I could say is that I smashed my car into a fence.
Oh, no!
You know what? I will tell the story. I just won't say the name of the film.
Okay.
Okay. I was called in to be an interviewer in the film. And because I am one. I have a show called Ion Entertainment, and we just got on Amazon Prime. So I've been doing this for 10 years, and I am an interviewer. So I get to the set. Nobody knows who I am.
I did.
No, you didn't see me in the beginning.
Wah, wah.
So I walk into
How did you run into Jeff? Were you trapped in extras holding?
Well, yes, I was, actually.
Oh, wow.
That's what I was going to tell you. Nobody recognized me, so they told me to go sit with the extras.
And did you see Jeff at craft service loading all the food into his bags?
There was no craft service. I was sitting with the extras. I had no idea what was going on. They had no idea. There were like 10 people lined up there. Nobody knew that I was supposed to be there. You know, it's like I went to each one. I said, look, you know, this person requested me, and I'm supposed to. And I will tell you that a director that I worked with on 6 films, Jared Masters, and Jared is great too, and he should come on your show.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, the same thing happened to him. He showed up on the set. Nobody knew who he was. So he was sitting with the extras, and he's a director.
Wow.
So anyway, it's like, then they told me to go walk somewhere. So I did, because I am, you know, I mean, like if I say I'm going to work on a film, I do. And then this guy comes and tells me to go home.
Wow.
And I'm just going, what? You know, so.
And that's when you met Jeff stealing the food.
No. But, I mean, it was the worst experience of my entire life.
It was not a good day.
No, and then I couldn't get out. I'm a terrible driver, and I had this huge car at the time. It was a Buick LaCrosse.
Right.
So I'm trying to get out of this parking lot.
It was all on a hill, too.
Yeah, it was all on a hill. So anyway, I crashed into a fence, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it until I got home, and my husband gets home from work, and he goes, "What did you do to the car?" Because the end was all bashed in. And I got home, and I get this call from the guy who requested me, and he says, "Why aren't you here to do your scene?" And I said, "Well, one of your ADs sent me home." I was furious. I got home and I cried.
Wow.
It was the worst day of my entire life.
It was Jeff's 3rd month on that production.
Shut up.
They stopped paying him after half a day, but he kept showing up.
That was a weird day. It definitely was, man.
It was horrible.
Just to get, I mean, it was kind of unorganized.
Oh, kind of. The same thing happened to Jared, except that he didn't smash his car.
Yeah.
So do you have any David Carradine stories? Because I interviewed David, and David was the wildest ride in the park. His agent gave me the number and said, "You're going to love David. You're going to really enjoy David. David's going to ask where you got his number." And he goes, "What are you going to tell him?" I'm going to say, "I got it from you." "No, you're going to tell David you don't know where you got his number." And he was right. I mean, his own agent was scared of him in that regard. So
Scared of him?
yeah. So what did you think of David Carradine?
Actually, the only time I've ever spoken to him at length is when I interviewed him at I used to do Night of 100 Stars, actually all 10 years that I worked on Ion Entertainment. So I've interviewed a lot of stars on the red carpet, and he was very nice, and he was nice. And he was there with his wife.
Was this Coco, or is this before or after Coco?
This was recently.
Okay.
So.
Well, he's been dead 5 years, so hopefully not too recent.
Okay, well, maybe that was 5 years ago. I got a picture of him, and he looks great.
Did he open his mouth and start screaming as he walked through you?
He was really nice. You know, I have had one person just refuse to talk to me.
Who?
I don't want to say.
No, you got to say no.
You must tell us.
As a fellow journalist,
I
need to know.
remember his name.
Oh, that's BS. You know damn well.
No, I can't. I really can't remember his name. Is Gary something?
Gary Sinise from Forrest Gump?
No. Oh, he's really nice. No, it was. I'm sure it was Gary, but he's kind of known for.
Gary Sandy from WKRP in Cincinnati?
No. Maybe I've got the name wrong. That's why I can't tell you because I can't remember his name.
Where was it at? What was the?
I can see why 100 stars.
I can see why Ian got rid of you if you can't remember the name of the celebrities you're schmoozing with.
No. Actually, it's my show, so they didn't get rid of me. And we just
I was joking,
won.
Dawna. I'm sorry.
No, seriously, we just won Best Television Show.
Congratulations, Best Hostess 2017. I see that.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, did I put that on there?
It's
okay.
definitely on there.
Well, I've won that twice.
Wow.
For Ion. So that shows you I've done it for 10 years.
Okay, celebrity interviews. Who's been the biggest a-hole?
That person that I can't remember his name. And only because he just refused to talk. And
because if it was David Carradine, he's been dead 5 years.
No, if I could remember the name, you guys would. Maybe it was Jeff.
Jeff Sargent?
I'm looking at Jeff. No, it wasn't.
Was it this guy named Jeff with a dumb look in his face?
He was on Taxi.
Jeff Conaway. Jeff Conaway.
He's another dead guy.
He also died of a drug overdose.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. So karma got him.
Yeah, well, he must have been on drugs that night.
Yeah, the weird thing.
Oh, yeah, he was horrible. Yeah.
The weird thing about him.
Oh, have you had experiences with him?
No.
I saw him. I was at Comic-Con. I interviewed the lady who played Cha-Cha on Grease. I did a book on the Incredible Hulk, and I talked to her about working on the Hulk. And this woman was beautiful, but she was quietly dying of stomach cancer. Next to her, Conway was sweating all over his own headshots. He was obviously jonesing for something. He was in a really bad way. But while this woman was dying with dignity, he was overdosed. He overdosed like a month or two after that. So, you know what I mean? It was interesting because this actress whose name I'm blanking on, but she's amazing. She's Cha-Cha in the film. She did The Incredible Hulk and a lot of episodics. But you know what I mean? But yeah, no, Conaway, one of the things that happened with Conaway is he used to go to Residuals, the Actors Bar in Burbank.
Oh, okay.
And what happened?
I've done karaoke there.
Jeff Conaway. I believe Jeff Conaway was the guy. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. Jeff Conaway got drunk, was driving home from Residuals, and hit a kid and a courier on a bike. You know what I mean? Because he was famous for Grease and everything else, the kid was able to tell the police who hit him. And trashed his bike.
You're thinking of Annette Charles for
yes,
Cha-Cha.
wow. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy.
Jimmy's becoming the anti-Dan.
It's what I get paid for, guys.
Bravo. By the way, the voice of God over there, Dawna, is Jimmy Shaw.
Nice to meet you.
Man without fear.
There's usually someone else here you probably can't see over the window.
Oh, boo. Have you no shame, Senator?
I've had everything.
We have to ask. So we've talked about Pond Scum, Big Trouble, and Blade Runner. So let's look at some of your other stuff. You talked about Krampus, and we've gone over Nemesis 5.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
I must know because my friends have worked with Ted V. Michaels.
TV
my friend
Michaels.
Jay Gowie made the Astro Zombie mask that he was selling for him.
Yeah, I saw his comment.
Tell us about Ted V. Let's talk about that.
Ted is great. I met him before Paranormal Extremes. And he gave me a role as a reporter in it. And I went there for a weekend, and my husband drove me there. And my husband is a financial advisor, but Ted put him to work helping with the set. And I also told my friend Gil Claveria about it because he lived in Nevada at the time. So Gil came down, and Ted put both my husband and Gil in the trailer.
Wow.
It was wonderful. Ted really liked my husband, actually.
No, is it true that Ted lived in a mansion with a bunch of beautiful women?
I got proof of that.
Francine York told me that.
Yeah.
I was in 1984, I think it was. He put an ad in the Penny Saver for a guillotine for movie props. So me, my friend Jack, and Larry went to his house in Glendale, right off the 2 freeway. And it was a big mansion, and there were 7 bedrooms. And he's all 7. I got 7 bedrooms and 7 women. And they all lived there for free. And we saw all his big props from all his movies. Gave us a whole tour. We were there for about 3 hours. Really nice guy, man.
Did he really offer you the job as the palace eunuch?
That's the only way he'd let me stay there.
Dawna and I are so grateful for you guesting on the show, Jeff. How about you, Blondie? Any stories about Ted V. Michaels?
Well, actually, so I did that film with him, and you can find Paranormal Extremes on Ted's website, on TVM. And then we shot 10 Violent Women. He decided to do 10 Violent Women Part 2 because 10 Violent Women was his most profitable film.
Wow.
And it starred Francine York, and they were friends. They were friends forever.
Yeah, Francine did Doll Squad with him.
Yeah, Doll
that
Squad,
was
yes.
wonderful. Is that the one with Michael and Sarah?
Yes, very
Michael
good.
and Sarah, yeah.
She cuts him in half with a ninja sword. I did his last interview, by the way.
Ted's?
Michael and Sarah.
Oh, okay. He was great. I remember him. But Ted, that was his most profitable film, 10 Violent Women. And I believe Francine York was the star in that, too. Wow. They were friends forever. And Francine York was the star of 10 Violent Women, Part 2.
So where were you? Were you 2 or 9? Which violent woman were you?
Which violent woman were you?
I was one of the 10.
Oh,
My name is Joanna. Okay,
you're exactly right. Wow.
Anyway, we shot half the film, and Dawna Hamblin was in the film, and she played Gloria, and Francine was supposed to be the lead of the film, but she became ill, and then Ted got sick.
Wow, that's right. In fact, that finished Ted, right?
Well, Ted just was ill, and so we finished half the film, and we were supposed to. The end of the film was going to be a big bodybuilder contest,
right?
And so he was trying to set that contest up, and he died before that happened. So his good friend Johnny Cornette and Drew Marvick were set to finish the film, and they contacted me, and they said that they were going to try to put together the end, and they say that they're going to film the end this year sometime,
cool.
and I hope that they do.
I'd like to see it finished.
Yeah, I would like to see it finished, too, so that it can be released, because it had a great script. You know, Ted wrote the scripts, and he was a great writer, and he was completely Ted until the end. You know, I mean, he was lucid, and he was older. But
Was this
great.
all on location? Was this all out in Vegas when you shot it?
In Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, because you lost Ted and Francine both died on that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used the poster because Johnny Cornette created that poster for me, and I love it. You know, so I do hope the film gets finished. I kind of know the end from Johnny, and it's something I really want to do.
No, I don't blame you.
We would like one of those posters autographed.
Well, I'll make you one.
Thank you.
I love that picture of us with the ice.
Oh, when I had the glass and then the running.
Yeah,
I love that picture. A lot of people love that picture.
I love that picture.
By a lot of people,
posted it.
I got two words
I'm-
for it. Too sexy, too sexy.
By a lot of people love that
post
picture.
I'm going to put that picture on Instagram when I get home.
Yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious. Wow. I'm looking over your resume. It's kind of cool. You did a
Like I said, the first part of my resume, or when I first started, you would have heard of everything. Then you wouldn't have heard of anything. But this year, I'm doing, I'm a very obsessive person. I was a vice president in technology when I was in business. So my goal is always to get better, to be as good as I can in the profession that I choose. So I was with a theater company for 12 years. I mean, I do know how to act, even though I've played a lot of prostitutes and, that type of thing.
I have no problem with that. In fact, I encourage it. I encourage every woman to pursue these roles.
address your letters to Jeff Sargent, not Pat Chapowitz.
Well, I'm still, I am still training.
To be a
actress.
Sorry.
I take classes at South Coast Repertory. I'm currently taking a class with Matthew Arkin, who is Ellen Arkin's son.
Oh,
So Adam Arkin's brother.
yeah.
Alan Arkin's son, which would make him Adam Arkin's brother.
Okay, yeah.
They should be around our age, huh? The Adam Arkin.
A little bit older, actually.
A little bit older. I remember in school they did a 16mm film called People's Soup. And it was Adam. It was Adam as a kid. It was a great film, and I saw that when I was like in 4th or 5th grade.
You guys know everything.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about Magnum PI.
Wait, hold it.
Why no, Magnum PI.
It's time to plug our sponsors.
hold on.
Okay.
Dawna, you're wandering the streets of Rancho Cucamonga looking for a delicious New York bagel. Where would you go?
The New York Bagel Company on the corner
right.
of Archibald and Vineyard. I mean, no, wait. Archibald and Foothill, excuse me.
And run by Jamal right up to the comic shop, the delicious New York bagel. Gosh, Jeffrey and Dawna, do you know why his New York bagels taste so good?
Well, they must taste good because he must import his water all the way from New York to make a New York bagel.
Yes, he goes right off of Coney Island with a glass jar. No, yes, he uses.
I think Niagara Falls filtered.
He uses good New York water, not the stuff that turned all those homeless people into chuds.
Because we love it. I mean, it's delicious. I want to eat another one, but I'm watching my figure.
Dan the Man, one of our producers, has turned us on to the Everything Bagel there. This is Jimmy Shaw.
I don't even look at me when you said Dan.
No.
You all looked right at me. Come on. Come on.
Jimmy, have you had
invitation
any
is
of
not good.
New York bagels? Have you eaten there?
I have not.
You need to go there.
I shall.
that sounds
I'll let him
good.
know I heard about it.
Mine is the blueberry bagel. That's my favorite.
The everything. I'd do the everything.
Yeah.
The Everything Bagel's amazing, but you can't ask him to sponsor your show because that is our privilege.
Where do you go when you want to smoke a fine cigar, craft beer, or a delicious bottle of wine?
Gosh, if I'm wandering the streets of Upland dazed from the sun, I would go to Pacific Wine Merchant and
Cigar Exchange at the downtown Metrolink Center. It's right there. It's the building they used the old train station back in the day.
You see, Dawna and Jimmy, you can hoist a cold one, smoke a cigar, and watch the sun set on the roof of the IHOP.
And that is in historic downtown Upland.
That
In
is
historic
indeed.
downtown
It
Upland.
is literally the old Upland train depot, which is the Pacific Wine Merchant and Cigar
Exchange.
Excellent.
They have one of the biggest humidors and the finest selection of cigars
Don't brag.
in the Inland Empire.
Usually Jeff likes cigars a little hairier.
Live music. Live music on the weekends. Live entertainment.
Hashtag back in college.
Yes. What happened at Chafin College for Jeff stayed at Chafin College.
Okay, we got that out of the way. Back to Miss Dawna.
The lovely Dawna Lee Heising.
Where were we?
I keep
You
giving
were
you
just
an
going to ask
allergy.
her about.
Yeah, you were going to tell us about Magnum PI.
Oh,
And you're going to tell us
PI.
what Magnum PI today on this, what would have been Tom Selleck's 73rd birthday, and still is since he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still kicking.
He's still doing
on,
stuff.
He's on Blue Bloods.
Yeah, I was going to say, somebody always knows somebody who watches Blue Bloods.
My mom and dad are living off Blue Bloods. They love it. They love it.
It's like everybody. One of my aunts would watch Bones without a.
I love Bones.
She would watch Bones without fail every week. That lovely Bones. Whose Bones going to go after this week?
Well, actually, I binge watched the whole,
Shame on you. It was like
12 seasons.
It was like pre-chewed NCIS.
Yeah.
But actually, when you binge watch it, you watch it in a couple of weeks. So
I did that with Punisher. Punisher's great on
Well,
Netflix.
the actress changes, so much during that because she gets pregnant and then it was just weird to watch that, but it was a great show.
Well, okay, I apologize for my sarcasm and dismay towards Bones.
So tell us experience with
Tom Selleck.
Well, actually, I didn't get to work with Tom Selleck.
What?
The reason why I was on
But his mustache kept hitting on you.
His mustache is symbiotic. It keeps Tom alive.
Well, actually, I played Cleo the snake dancer.
Ooh, tell us more.
So they couldn't bring snakes into Hawaii, so that's why they hired me here. And so I danced with a snake, and the trainer was right off camera, and it was exciting. And so that's
Jeff was hoping if he slithered towards you.
That's
you
a
could
very
recreate this.
dangerous thing when you bring an non-indigenous animal.
Yeah.
They did that to Catalina, and they had to do control when they brought boar hogs over there, and what else did they bring over there that was not right out of their environment? And but that's they had security on that. They want to make sure that snake
It was like
went back in its cage.
A huge snake, and I had never seen a snake before. But
What?
I wanted the job, so I did it. And I was a dancer, so it was like really easy to do it.
So you danced with the snake and Megan PM? Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
the Britney Spears thing. I don't know if I think her snake was real too.
Wow.
Her snake was yellow, but mine was brown with a bunch of spots all over.
Well, Joanna Cassidy, who played the robot stripper in Blade Runner with you, she said what got her the part from Ridley Scott is that was her own snake she brought with her to the audition.
Wow.
It was Darling, her snake, and she brought it.
I mean, what was your first reaction? I mean, you never worked with a snake, and they give you this big giant snake, and did you just?
The trainer was really nice. The trainer introduced the snake to me, and I got used to it.
Did the snake hand you his resume?
The snake sounds like Morgan Freeman, brown with the spots on it.
We get letters. That was once again Jeff Sargent talking. I got you covered, Jimmy.
I'm going to be your dance partner today.
I'm going to be dancing with you.
So how many was that? Had to be a lot of weight to that. I mean, those big snakes are heavy. It was a big boa, right?
Yeah, it was pretty heavy, but it moved on its own. So it wasn't just hanging on me; it moved.
Wow.
So it was a great experience, and it was like my biggest part to date.
Really? Wow.
To that time.
To that point, and it was like the #1 show in the country at that time. Did
you have to film that in Hollywood, or did they film part of Magnum here at all in L.A., or is it
It was in L.A. I mean, they had to do that because of the snake, so I don't know if I was the only person that filmed Magnum here, because I think most of it was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Tell us about shooting Fantasy Island. What episode did you do?
Well, actually, I won I went to UC Berkeley. I was a chemistry major, and I won Miss San Francisco Universe. So they saw me there. So I played Miss Hawaii on Fantasy Island.
Wow.
Oh, how cool. What color was your hair?
It was dark. My hair was blonde when I came back, but it was dark before.
Oh, cool.
And actually, my next film is called Purged, and it's going to be, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
Brunette or a redhead?
Well, it's with Dustin Ferguson. It's a Wild Eye releasing film, so it's going to be, a good film. And I'm playing a Mexican mother. So I'm going to be wearing a black wig.
You've got that look. You could play you could play probably Indian, Japanese, Chinese, you know.
Well, actually, I was supposed to be one of the killers in Purged, and I said, you know, I can play a Mexican mother. I'm Indian. I sent Dustin a bunch of pictures of me with dark hair, you know, and so he gave me the part because Dustin knows I can act. Dustin wrote Robo Woman for me. Dustin is amazing.
No, do you play the Robo Woman or the
yes.
woman? Wow, interesting.
I saw the picture. I saw the
poster
with the gun and the poster with the gun.
Yeah,
and
that was by Gaz of Sinister Press. He's wonderful.
That would make a good action toy, I think.
Well, that's, you know, I've been dreaming. I've been working ever since I came back to do a lead. In the beginning, I just took everything so that I would get used to being on a set again, you know. And so that's, I mean, I can't count the number of things I've done since I came back because I've just did everything I was offered. But, you know, a couple of years ago, I decided I needed to get serious about this because I wanted to be proud of the work that I did. I mean, my uncle is Tak Fujimoto. My cousin David won an Emmy for Peter and the Wolf on Broadway. And I wanted my I haven't really told my family about anything I've done until I did Samurai Cop 2 with Gregory Hatanaka. Now that was...
Tommy Wiseau.
Yes!
Tommy Wiseau from the
Yes.
You know, I was so lucky. I can't... When I did Samurai Cop 2 with Gregory... That's when I decided, that's when I decided I need to start doing things that my family can know about. Because I was the vice president of marketing and technology. So I'm from an Asian family, you know, and you know how they are. I mean, I'm sure everybody does. So I didn't tell anyone that I was back in show business because I didn't want them to see anything I did when I first started. But with Samurai Cop 2, that was different. It was like another step up. And Gregory knew my uncle because he grew up with my cousin, friends with my cousin. And that's how I got into Samurai Cop because Gregory knew you know, my Uncle Tak. And I was so fortunate. I had a really small role in it, but it was with Tommy.
Yeah, I saw the picture of it. He had something on his. Was he he had his hand chopped out? He had some kind of gun or something on his hand. His arm.
Well, he was wearing a glove. So
it was some kind of glove. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was so. At the time, when we shot, I didn't know
that he was the original disaster artist.
I didn't know about The Room. You know, and I didn't know that he was a legend already. But he was so nice. I was supposed to teach him how to use a sword. And so off camera, I mean, I'm getting on there and, you know, I didn't know how to use a sword, but I'm doing whatever I did. And so he took me off stage, you know, and he showed me how to show him how to use the sword. And he was just the nicest person in the world. And he had this charisma. I mean, I looked at him and it was just like, kind of like Elvis. You know, he was a really dynamic person. He was someone who you wanted to look at. I don't know how to describe it.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, so, and then Gregory's re-released the film, and it's called Revenge, and he's changed the film, actually. He's taken a bunch of scenes that Tommy shot, and so Tommy's the star of Revenge. Oh, sorry. He's the star of Revenge of the Samurai Cop, and it's now on Amazon.
Wow. Okay. So
now I want to know, do you say your family, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Well, who's it?
I have a lawyer. One of my sisters is a lawyer who graduated from Harvard. Another sister who's a nurse, and she's the administrator of 3 hospitals. I have a brother who's an accountant, and my other brother went to Essie's Film School.
Wow, we got a lot of academic people
That's
here.
That's how Asian families are. You know, my mom was the valedictorian of her high school, and she went on to become a charge nurse. I told you about my dad. He went to Stanford and Essie, and he had 11 patents. He was a computer genius. Wow. And then he went back to school and got another degree and taught high school with disadvantaged kids.
In the 70s. That's really impressive.
In the 70s. Then he drowned at Burke Williams Spa, which was just a terrible thing.
I'm so sorry. Let's talk about something a little lighter. For example, you did the new Gidget with Karen Rich, right?
Yes.
Karen Kane, yeah.
Oh, I played the governor of Hawaii's wife, and it was directed by Ted Lang.
Wow, Ted Lang from The Love Boat?
Yes.
What did you think of him? Because I've met him and I have a distinct opinion of the man.
Oh, he was really nice. Really nice and really talented. Why? What happened with you?
No, I covered a black filmmakers forum that Ted was on the panel of. And I was the only white guy there, and Ted was on stage. I gave an elderly woman my seat, and the only place to stand was behind Ted. And Ted was talking about Whitey with his big blue eyes and blonde hair, not knowing I was standing behind him. He was just talking about the Whitey is always behind you. And the crowd started laughing because they thought he was referencing me, but he didn't know I was back there.
Oh, and you're 6'9".
And he was getting madder and madder. I'm telling you the truth. And everyone laughed even harder because I was standing right behind, about a foot behind him, so he couldn't feel me looming.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't his fault.
No. No, but I just remember, wow, that's Ted Lang, huh? All right, let's hit the ground running. And so Governor of Hawaii on Bring Him Back Alive. That's the Peter. You did Bring Him Back Alive with Peter. God, what's his name? Strauss.
Sound it out.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Peter Strauss and the Hottie von Trott and Cindy Morgan.
Okay.
Who'd you play on that?
And I played a prostitute.
Wow.
Okay, so I played a prostitute in a lot of those series, like The Gold Monkey.
You're on Tales of the Gold Monkey?
Yeah, I was.
Yes, that's up here. I see it.
Yeah, but let's talk about the stuff that I'm doing now.
Wait. We'll get back to that in a minute. I want to know what Tales of the Gold Monkey.
I played a prostitute. Okay.
No wonder Jeff is getting more and more excited.
Blonde, brunette, or redhead?
Brunette. I played an Asian prostitute.
There's a shock.
Black hair.
That's why I was always working, because I was a prostitute, and there were always Asian prostitutes.
Yeah, the 80s was crazy, but the 80s.
But it was TV. So I've never done any nudity.
But really?
Never.
Hold on. What the hell, Joe?
What the hell?
You told me there were.
I did a lot of TV.
80s in the 80s genre.
I'm Asian.
Right, no, the Asian prostitute was one of the big fantasies of Asia of 80s movies.
It was. So it was wonderful because I played a lot of Asian prostitutes and I was good at it.
Because because there's an Asian prostitute in Lethal Weapon. And for a long time, you remember he goes, "What's a nice Irish girl doing like you doing it?" And then like this. And for a long time, she had a Facebook page or something called "The Asian Prostitute from Lethal Weapon."
Oh, really?
It was hilarious,
Yeah, I should have done that.
Yeah, exactly. They were crimping your style.
Yeah, I had to go back to work, and I got my MBA from Pepperdine.
Wow.
But I had to turn down a long job on a film called Black Rain as a prostitute.
Oh my God, the Michael Douglas, Tony Scott.
I was so upset, but there were circumstances beyond my control, and I had to go back to work. So.
You would have been an Asian prostitute for both of the Scott brothers, Tony and Ridley. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, but
Interesting. Wow. Now, let's see. Just to make sure we cover your TV work. Miss Hawaii on Young and the Restless? Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
I was Miss Hawaii on The Young and the Restless.
The same character, and she does Miss Hawaii. Let's move her over to this TV show.
It's like I was in a lot of pageants when I was, well, actually, I'm still in I was going to say when I was younger, but I'm still in a lot of pageants.
I see pictures of you wearing that tiara in all kinds of
We wanted
events.
to make sure Miss Hawaii was another Asian prostitute.
I'm Mrs. Golden Global, and I was Miss Wind International Film Festival last year in 2017. But when you saw me wearing the crown, I just did a film in Las Vegas again with Ron Bex and Tina Lee, and it's gonna be huge. I can't tell you the stars in it right now because I'm not supposed to.
Okay.
I'm a publicist,
Yeah.
so you're going to hear about these stars as soon as Ron and Tina give me the green light.
Yeah, you know about intellectual properties.
Well, I actually wanted to start publicizing it as soon as I got back from the airport last week.
Yeah, because it's you.
Well, no, because it's Ron, And Ron, I interviewed Ron. He did a film called Hunter Future Cop that Gregory Hatanaka directed.
Wow.
And so I met Ron, 2 years back, I think. I did an interview with him. And then he called me and he said, I have a role for you in this. And so I flew out there last week. And it's this year has been really amazing for my career. And you guys just interviewed Joe Silvera Jr.
Yes.
Yes, clown with a K.
Yes. So that's an interesting story. I don't know.
Tell, we got time.
Okay. Well, Steve Joyner is the one who told me about your show.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
And Steve's great. And Steve got me into a film called Clown, the film called Clown.
With a K.
With Joe. And I was supposed to be the girlfriend of the clown.
David Stay.
Yeah, and it turned...
I talked to him for a long time on the phone. Yeah.
Okay. I just found out yesterday that David was playing the clown. I've known David...
Oh, you've already known him?
For 10 years.
Oh, wow.
He was like one of the very first people I interviewed for Ion Entertainment.
Wow.
Him, Domiziano Arcangeli, Bill Oberst Jr.
Well, Bill Oberst,
Yeah, those are the people I interviewed when I first... I was actually in technology when I first started Ion Entertainment, and I missed show business so much. I started the show, and I was working like 12-hour days in marketing and technology. But then I would go and interview these horror stars, in my spare time. So anyway, David was one of the first people that I interviewed. So I've known him forever. And I just found out yesterday he's playing the clown. And he's going to be great at it. But, it's like I told Steve that I would do the role because he knows me. I thought he knew me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
So anyway, I was supposed to be the girlfriend of the clown, which I thought was cool. I mean, I thought it would be a great part, and I like doing sexy parts. But this part turned out to be too sexy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, there are two, sex scenes, And I read the script and I'm going, you
can do it!
Yes, no, I'm going, I can't do it. And Joe's going, well, we'll do it very tastefully. And I'm saying, well, this part has two sex scenes in it. So anyway, Joe was so wonderful that he wrote another scene for me where I really get to act. I mean, it's just like a small scene in it, but it's a great scene. I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
You're killed, obviously. If you're not playing the girlfriend, you're killed.
No, I'm not killed, but I'm attacked. Let's say I'm raped. And then I'm in the police station. It's just a great scene. It's an acting scene. So I'm really happy to be in the film, and I'm really grateful to Joe for writing that scene for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I like David. I talked to him for a long time, and that guy, he's a smart dude. I like that guy.
He is very smart. I mean, I started out when he was doing, he wrote and directed and produced his film. This was 10 years ago, so I can't remember the name of the film. Ford Austin, too. I mean,
Wow.
Ford and David were doing this film together. I think it was an Angry Baby Monkeys production.
Wow. Angry Baby Monkeys.
Yeah,
production.
that is Ford's company.
Wow, wow, wow. That's too funny. And I mean, you did a video with Fall Out Boy. Talk about that.
Oh, that was Tommy Lee was in that.
Wow.
Tommy Lee played the devil. I played a pole dancer in it. But they had real strippers doing the pole dancing, and they were better than me. So, what I ended up doing was just dancing on the floor when the strippers were really doing the pole dancing in their costumes, their real costumes. So I had my regular pole dancing costume, but it was exciting. I got to see Tommy Lee. I got to see Fall Out Boy.
Oh, how were they?
They were good.
A long pause. Are you sure? Are you?
Yeah, I think it was just one of them, but I can't. I don't know
It's
rock
probably
music
Pete
that
Wentz,
well.
the-
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, that guy. He's like the leader, the star of the band.
So it was him and Tommy Lee. They were together.
Now you did Scorpion Girl.
No, I didn't.
Nice one, then,
Yeah,
Jeff.
it's not on my resume, but
Wah,
they still
wah.
have.
It's on here. It's on the IMDb.
They-
Brittany Ko.
Yeah, actually, I'm supposed to play
happened?
that part. They haven't shot it yet.
Ah.
Aki Leung, Aki Leung is like part of my family, and he's wonderful. He's an A-lister if you look him up. And I'm his publicist. So I got him involved in that too, and because of my involvement in it, Ford Austin got into it. Mel Novak got into it, and I think they shot a trailer, and I think Mel was in it. But Aki kept waiting for them to call him in. I kept waiting for them to call me in, and they never have. So I'm still on. I mean, it's still on IMDb, but I don't know what's going on with that.
Wow, interesting.
And I was supposed to be a pole dancer in that, but then I'm supposed to be a double agent. I mean, it sounded like a great role, and I hope they still do it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, what's amazing with your resume is it just goes. There's a ton of stuff on here.
Well, I have a lot of stuff that I'm supposed to do too. I'm really excited about Robo Woman, but the Krampus film, I play the ghost all through it, and it's with Helen Udy. I'm supposed to do a film called Cannibal with this fantastic director named Faisal Saif. Faisal Saif did this wonderful film called Islamic Exorcist, and Gregory Hatanaka's company, Cinema Epoch, is the one that released it. And for some reason, Faisal found me on Facebook, and he contacted me, and he told me that he wanted to make me the lead in a future film, and he sent me a link to Islamic Exorcist. I watched it. I mean, it was amazing. Wow. It was just so suspenseful, and Kavita is a fantastic actress, and it just kept you guessing. It wasn't a real horror film. It was a psychological horror film, and it was amazing. So then I've wanted to, and this was about a year ago, so I've wanted to work with Faisal ever since then. And Cannibal, I think he said that my husband, I don't know if I'm supposed to give away.
Go for it, go ahead.
I have a part in it. I'm not the lead in it. Kavita's the lead in it. I think my husband eats me in Cannibal or something. But that's not the film that he wants to star me in. I just can't wait till that film comes because Faisal is amazing. He's a genius. In fact, all of the filmmakers that I'm working with, I really love their work. Faisal's great. Gregory Hatanaka's great. Dustin is going to be a star by the end of the year. He's going to be a star. He's amazing. He's young. So he has all this energy, and he does like 3 films a month. And he's got this deal with Wild Eye Releasing already, which a lot of filmmakers would kill for. And so he gets paid to do these films. And Purge, the next one, is from Wild Eye Releasing. And then we're doing a film called Horn Dogs. I've got this. Oh my gosh, my part in that is hilarious. And the thing is, I have to memorize, and I've got a big role in Purge, so I have to memorize these things, and then I've got to memorize Robo-Woman, and I really want Robo-Woman to be great. And then I've got to memorize the Krampus film, and I'm all through that film. Then I told you I'm taking this class with with Matthew Arkin at South Coast Rep, and he gave me another scene. So I've got all this stuff to memorize, but it's worth it. I mean, I want to do it, and it's worth the work. And I think anytime you do this much work, you just get
Is
better.
it all at the same time? I mean, within days apart? Like one day you're going to shoot on this film for a few days, and the next one you're going to...
I'm doing Purge the first week in March. I'm doing Horn Dogs the second week in March. I'm flying to Missouri to do Krampus for more than a week at the beginning of April. And then we're shooting Robo-Woman in April. And then I'm also playing this great part in a William Lee film called Black Mamba Rising.
I was just going to ask about that. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's a crazy part. And
Esmeralda is going to be your name, right?
Yeah, William wrote it for me. And it's a fantastic part. It's Lucifer's wife. And I actually auditioned for William. Dan Kennedy is wonderful. He's joined my show, Ion Entertainment. And he comes over and he films my auditions for me. He's just such a great friend. So he filmed this audition for Black Mamba Rising, and I was playing a doctor in it. But William wanted me to do it like a bunch of different ways, and he wanted me to do it really angry and crazy. So if you check on my YouTube site, I'll send the link to you. It's still unlisted because I don't know if William wants everyone to know the script, so I'm going to wait till it gets released. But I did this crazy audition, and I guess William saw that, and he wrote this even crazier role of Esmeralda for me. So I'm going to, Dan's coming over, and we're going to take pictures of me as Esmeralda on Friday.
Cool.
And that's going to be filmed in Ohio.
Ohio?
Yeah.
Wow, what town in
sometime
Ohio?
this summer. I don't know. It could be Columbus. I think that's where William is.
Well, that's cool that you got to travel and go to these different states and
just kind of see everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I'm also doing a film in Indiana with Dustin Kay. And I play a monster's wife. I think it's a werewolf or something. I play the evil person's wife.
Oh, but
The
do you
villain's
have,
wife.
is your part evil?
I don't know yet. I haven't gotten the script.
Sometimes the evil person is married to the innocent person who has no idea, right?
No, but I like playing evil characters. I have, so. I mean, it's fun. I mean, they can be more interesting. I'm playing in Purged. I'm playing a Mexican wife who's very religious. So that's a good role. Yeah. And then I'm playing kind of an evil character in Horn Dogs after that. And the one in Horn Dogs is going to be fun. Esmeralda.
Well, just the word horn dogs sounds fun to me.
Oh, it's going to be Dustin's first comedy. It's going to be hilarious. My role is hilarious, and Mike Reeb is the one that wrote it. He writes a lot of Dustin's films, and he's a great screenwriter. He wrote the part in Nemesis for me, and I just can't wait till everyone sees that part because it's I have to mention Garden Party Massacre.
Garden Party.
Gregory
We were
Blair.
waiting when you were going to bring
Garden
up
Party.
Garden
I'm thinking of Ricky went to a garden
yeah.
party.
No, Garden Party Massacre with Gregory Blair has won 11 awards now. And it just won Outstanding Ensemble at the Anti-Hero Production Genre Film Festival.
So when is it will be released to the public?
I don't know if Gregory's got it. Well, it's winning every festival, so I think Gregory's going to just run the gamut.
Yeah.
But it's gotten great reviews. Gregory is an award-winning screenwriter, director, and producer. And he went to Oxford. I've interviewed Gregory twice now. In fact, he's one of my shows on Amazon Prime. And everyone who belongs to Amazon Prime, please check out my show. It's Ion Entertainment. And please give me a good review on it. I had to start the show all over, so I have no reviews on it yet. So you guys please do it. Please visit it.
No, the pleasure would be ours.
Oh, that would be so fantastic, because I had my first interview is with Aki Leung, and then I've got Adam Steigert.
Adam worked with you. Aki directed you in a couple things.
I was in his film Chinaman's Chance, which hopefully will soon be released. Dustin just re-edited it because it's been in production for 10 years, so it had to be changed from SD to HD. It's won a bunch of film festivals for Aki. It's a really important film. It's about the Chinese working on the railroad.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, my ancestors were part of that.
That'd be perfect.
It was a horrible period for the Chinese. For some reason, they were the only Asians who were so discriminated against. And I'm Chinese and Japanese, so I don't understand why the Chinese were so picked upon. But they would lower them into these caves with sticks of dynamite. And if the dynamite blew them up, then, just too bad.
Okay, we'll just fill more people.
Keep
blowing up our tunnels.
Lower Chinese over. I mean, that's why it's a really important film. And that's why Aki did the film. And it's got every star in Hollywood in it. It's got Olivia Hussey.
Really?
Danny Trejo, Mark Madsen, Ernest Borgnine. And this was 10 years ago, so it's before he died.
Is that, whoa, is that Roy Moore?
Who? What the? What?
Who was that blind guy behind the microphone?
Oh, my God.
It's Jimmy Shaw. It's the puppet.
It's the puppet. Oh, my God.
Okay, Jimmy is putting his...
Look, he's pulling his strings. Look.
Roy only talks when Jimmy puts his
He's a
hand
marionette,
up
the human marionette. Oh, my gosh. The left hand
Roy Moore.
of Jimmy Shaw. It's Roy Brewster.
You have no idea how important this is, Dawna. This is, you see that flesh puppet that was
This is the first time we've seen this guy in the flesh. We've only seen cartoons of him on his show program
There's
here.
a cartoon program. Usually
I'm not real. This is Jimmy.
You got us big time, Roy. Oh, my gosh. We have the Roy and Jimmy show on the Jeff Sargent show.
Jimmy, I apologize.
Dawna, we've never seen this guy. We were always making fun of him on our show because we never had any proof that he existed.
Well, here it is.
And here it is.
Well, I don't want to. You guys are doing a great show today. I was listening all this morning.
Yes.
I don't want to cut in. I know Jimmy was here, but I did stop at the bagel place.
Hey, Jamal's New York Bagels.
Yes. What's your favorite bagel?
The everything bagel.
I got everything. You said everything?
Yes.
You said blueberry?
Yes.
I got everything, blueberry, and then French toast.
Wow.
Oh, my French toast.
I had no idea he did French toast. Wow. He went to our sponsors, which makes Roy Moore.
Roy Brewster for mayor of Rancho Cucamonga.
He's now edging out Jimmy as our favorite Roy and Jimmy co-host.
Yes.
So please continue.
Of course.
Dawna, this is Roy Brewster. He's got his own show here on Chaotic Radio, the Roy and Jimmy thing,
Okay, so I'm not gonna. You guys keep going.
Yes,
I just
sir.
wanted to put my face in.
No, it's an honor.
Yeah, it surprised me because I'm not wearing my glasses. I look up, I go, what happened to Jimmy?
I see a blind guy kicking in the chair.
I don't want to cut in on Dom's. Very
The lovely
entertaining this
Dawna
morning.
Heising. Yeah.
Very entertaining.
Turn around, gorgeous. Tell us some stories.
So forget I'm here because I'm usually not here. I'm really not here. So you know.
Even Dutchie said,
Holy holograms, Batman!
So what's Canaan Land?
Canaan Land. That's another one. Oh, it's my first faith-based film. And Richard Rossi is the writer and director and producer of that. And he's an evangelist. He's a pastor. But he also is recognized by the Pope because he did a film on Roberto Clemente.
Wow,
You know,
the baseball player.
Yeah, who died on a mission to help people.
Oh, that really sucks when things like that happen.
Yeah, so anyway, his film was on Roberto Clemente, and the Pope recognized it. Rebecca Holden of The Knight Rider is the star of Canaan Land, along with Richard Rossi, and I have a small part in that. I play Connie, and I'm in the beginning of the film before Richard Rossi's character gets reformed. So anyway, he screws me over.
Oh, no! Boo!
Nobody should screw you. You have an MBA. It's harder to screw an Asian prostitute with an MBA.
Well, I'm not an Asian prostitute anymore. I'm whatever
We're on the air with
nationality you want.
We're on the air with the lovely Dawna Heising, actress and reformed Asian prostitute in movies and TV.
Reformed Asian prostitute, but I'm still a prostitute.
Okay.
In movies.
That creep Jeff wanted to know your rates.
I've got a crisp $100 bill. Jimmy, do you have change for a crisp $100 bill?
I'm a movie prostitute.
I am honored to be here on the very last Jeff Sargent show.
No!
That's why I'm here.
That's why we're slowly transitioning Roy in. Sorry, guys. You got to watch the news, man. There's some hashtags y'all aren't aware of.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Jeff's hashtag.
No, I'm not
After this episode, Jeff's hashtag is me through.
Me too.
Jeff hasn't done anything.
That's what every woman who's been with us told me.
That's his .com. Jeff hasn't done anything.com.
Hashtag hung like a baby.
Jeff's always been a gentleman. So, Jeff, what's happening with Cold Plastic TV?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm trying to get. I want to get Roland Bolin on the show.
Oh, he's great.
I need to get him on here. So I'm trying to get his attention. I got I left a message on his phone. He said, "Call me, Jeff. We got to hang out sometime." Well, let's hang out on my show.
Talk about his.
It's Hollywood. He didn't mean it.
Yeah, well, tell me who his parents were again.
Mark Bolin of T-Rex. And his mom was the backup singer of Gloria.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing?
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, so it's the first glitter. What do you call them? Like David Bowie.
He was only 2 years old, and when the tragic car crash happened.
Has he been? I think he's been on the show. He might have been a phoner, but he was on the show.
What show?
Our show.
No, Roland Bolin. Roland Bolin has never been. I've done 3 music videos with him.
Are you sure?
I did Children of the Revolution. That's where we were dancing.
That was great. Yeah.
And did you dance with Jeff? And if so, how are your feet?
And then he did. I did 3 different characters on 3 of his videos, and I forget the names of the other one. The other one was Master Plan, and then there was a third one, and I forget what. I forget the name of it, but yeah, I'm trying. I need to get him in here, and
I'm sure he's got quite.
He's
a
great
story,
performer. He's got a beautiful voice like his father, and he's really talented. I brought my little tiny guitar with me, and he performed a little song when we were filming that Cold Plastic.
Oh yeah, it was in the.
And I Instagrammed it, and boy, it got a lot of hits right away.
I Instagrammed it too because I took a video of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You were. Okay.
Yeah, that was a fun shoot. You know, I was also in a music video with Sia and Travie McCoy, and it was called Golden. And that was it was a major music video. It was a great song. I've never heard it on the radio. I mean, people should look up that music video because the song is fantastic.
And it's called what?
Golden.
Oh, Golden by
Travis McCoy.
Weren't you listening? She just told you, you moron.
I got this thing in this ear when it doesn't stick in my brain.
Listen, let me tell you what the pros do it. Okay. We listen to what they say, and then we ask questions about it.
Okay. We'll write it down after the show, and I'll look it up.
You're hosts who know everything about everything, so then you tell me about the things that I've done.
But that's kind of amazing. I mean, to me, alone, the Blade Runner stories. I mean, 3 weeks in Blade Runner. Could we go back to that for a minute?
Well, fog, I mean, it's like I was an Asian prostitute.
Well, I want to know about the set because there always rain. It was dark. Was it soundstage with the rain coming down?
Universal Studios.
Yeah, it was a backlot of Universal. So, I mean, it was amazing. There were the huge sets that were already built. Wow. And then there were blocks set up like Chinatown.
Yeah.
Exactly. There were like ducks.
The neon lights and the,
Yeah, and I mean, there's always fog going through, and we worked all through the night.
Wow.
Yeah,
so it was literally an all-night shoot for 3 weeks.
You saw the police spinners on the cables lifting off, and oh my God, you got to see all the special effects.
I don't know why I didn't. Maybe we couldn't take pictures.
Well, that was back in the 35 millimeter camera days, you have those disposable cameras, I think, and those weren't allowed on sets,
Okay, maybe that's why, because I don't have any pictures from it. Someone posted a picture on my IMDb page.
Really?
I don't have any pictures.
Wow. Well, now it gives me more, and I've watched that film religiously through the decades, and now I can watch it again and find things that I didn't see, and I'm going to look for you.
I'm in for 1 second.
What color was your hair in that?
It was dark.
Dark?
All of my... I was played Asian, so it was dark all through until I came back 7 years ago.
Wow. Well, why'd you stop?
Well, I can play more roles now. I mean, I was blonde when I was in marketing, and I just came back blonde.
You were doing all your academic skills and for work and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just, I could change it. I mean, I didn't... When I was in marketing, nobody cared what I looked like.
I doubt that.
It's what I could produce as far as brochures and publicity and awards for my company, things like that. And actually, that's why I know so much about publicity, because I was a publicist for my companies. I started 4 marketing departments, and I started the publicity departments for these companies. So when I came back to work, I knew how to publicize things, and I'm kind of a type A personality, so I would take over on these film sets, the indie film sets, and I would just start publicizing. So I really only do the show now for things that I act in, but I publicize every project that I act in.
Wow.
Oh, good. Self-promotion. Why not?
Yeah, well, it's film promotion, too. I try to make, like Dustin. I mean, Dustin, he's been so great to me. I will publicize him everywhere. I publicize Aki everywhere. Actually, Aki was supposed to play my father in Nemesis 5, and then...
Really?
Yes, and then he got sick, right before. He had the flu or something, so Mel Novak became my brother. So he flew back to Nebraska. But, I mean... It's
this is you in Blade Runner?
One of them, yeah.
Wow. She looks amazing. She's in the stylized kabuki-style mask over her,
But I didn't post that.
Wow.
Wow.
Someone else posted it.
Strong and powerful.
Dawna, that's amazing. That's kind of...
And look how I didn't even notice the Jason reference with the
because when she did it, it wasn't a Jason reference. Jason was still in the bag.
Oh my!
Blade
That's
Runner
right.
came out before Jason's.
So that's
mask.
probably what inspired that. They probably saw that.
I think Jason's mask actually came out of Mad Max Road Warrior. They're ripping off Humongous.
Oh right, the Ayatollah rock and roll.
Right. Yeah. Boy, you look so stylized in this. That's amazing. Wow.
So my goal is to move up to films like that.
But is it weird because you started in one of the biggest movies in history?
That's one of the most iconic sci-fi movies ever.
I didn't really realize how lucky I was at the time because, I was just starting out. But now I realize how lucky I was. Now I realize how lucky I was to get a role with Tommy Wiseau in Samurai Cop 2, and to have him become even more famous because of, I think it's unfair that James Franco isn't up for an Oscar, because...
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and they're trying, because the whole Me Too
They're
thing.
calling him the disaster artist, the worst acting, then James Franco wants to get an award for imitating this guy.
Yeah, and he won a Golden Globe. He was nominated for a SAG Award. He could have won that. Okay, so how does he not get even nominated for the disaster artist if he won those awards? Because 2 women accused him of, they're in his sex class. He's making a sex scene class. So I don't want to get involved.
I think it was an acting class, and because he was having them do a sex scene is where the controversy came in. You know what I mean?
But is it like what some of these other people did?
I don't think it's a Weinstein thing. I think it was mostly the allegations against him were mostly like creeping, supposedly while doing a similar.
One of them dated him.
Yeah,
I've never heard that. Wow.
So he's not even nominated. I don't want to get into it because I don't like conflict and I don't like controversy, but
too late.
But I have a vested interest in the disaster artist. I'm mad.
I would have loved to seen you do it. It would have been great if you did Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner?
Well,
Blade Runner. Baby.
It would have been great if my agent had.
Did you see the movie? Did you watch it? Oh, it's beautiful, man. I love it.
Well, I'm going to watch it.
It's 3 hours long. Who has the time?
I do. I'll watch it again and again and again.
Well, you keep on, but there's a reason it bombed. In my humble opinion.
Oh.
So Big Trouble, where'd you shoot that? Sony or Columbia?
I don't remember. Fantasy Island was Columbia Ranch.
Oh, it was Columbia Ranch? You didn't know, but Fantasy Island, you're on the actual...
Big Trouble was Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers lot.
But Fantasy Island was it wasn't in Arcadia? It wasn't
that was Mr. Rourke's house, and they had a 3/4, they had a half plane. It was
they had
only shot from the side, and the other side was just a phony plane, and it was right there in the pond. It was just it's a small pond, but they made it like, a little big lagoon. It's the Lucky Baldwin house in Arcadia. That's the town I grew up in as a kid.
Oh, was Arcadia? Oh, okay. I don't know. It was
right
so
across
long
from
ago.
Santa Anita Racetrack.
Was it Columbia Ranch?
It could be at that.
It was.
Well,
they filmed it there too.
If you remember Columbia Ranch, it must have been.
Yeah, because
they only shot the house scenes there, like when people got off the plane. That was the only one time they
shot. They shot
in
Anaconda there as well. Did you meet Ricardo Montalban on it? Mm-hmm. Tell us about him.
And Tattoo.
Wow,
he was exactly the same.
Wow.
Off screen, he was very, very.
I am Mr. Rourke.
Yeah. Very sophisticated.
Did you meet the little guy?
Hervé?
Wow. I met him. I didn't hang out. I really don't hang out with in
little
those
people?
days.
Short people?
I didn't hang out with the stars.
Short people.
No,
Whoa.
I didn't hang out with the stars. It's like. I don't like. I didn't want to harass them.
Yeah, you're just doing your thing, doing your job.
Anyone would feel harassed hanging with you.
I don't harass anybody. Even these days, I don't harass the stars. If they want to be interviewed, I'll interview them.
So Jeff Conaway was your worst interview. Who was your best?
I've had so many great ones because. In my interviews, I just let them talk, so there's so many interesting people. Domiziano Arcangeli was always great. I interviewed him a number of times. Gregory Blair's always great. And he gave me my first role. It was like a cameo as Nurse Voorhees in Deadly Revisions, which won tons and tons of awards. Then he gave me this role as this crazy person, and I was wearing a red wig in Garden Party Massacre.
Yay!
And I mean, it's this person is crazy. She's not sexy at all.
Oh,
And
the red. Oh man, I got a thing for redheads.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm crazy in it, but I've gotten more.
He also has a thing for crazy girls.
Oh, okay. Well, I've gotten more awards for Garden Party Massacre. I mean, I've gotten more notice for my acting than on anything else because he wrote that role for me.
I want to ask about Satanicus.
Satanicus was with Creeperson. I don't know if you remember him.
I do. He's a friend of Alyssa Dowling.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I did a number of films with Creep, actually, and he's great. I mean, he's really, his real name is Matt Wall, and he's Matt Wall again. He's no longer Creeperson.
Boo, I like Creeperson.
I know, that's such a funny name.
He was also a musician, and I did a number of films. I think one of them just got released. It was called Finger Bang. And everyone thought it was a porn film because Ron Jeremy was the star in it.
No.
But I played Lady Goldfist. I played Creep's wife in it.
Lady Goldfish, I love it.
Goldfist. And
Lady Goldfist.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it got, because he played Goldfist. His fist was gold. But it just got released, and they changed the name. Thank God, So it's on Amazon now as the new name.
That's hilarious. I'm looking at Creeperson's pictures. Yeah, he doesn't look like a creep.
No, he's a Matt Wall. He's very, very intelligent.
Wow.
I mean, it's like he knew how to shoot. Well, a lot of the people that I work with, know how to shoot films and make them look like $1 million films on a tiny budget.
Yeah, boy, 43 movies as director.
Wow.
Well, Dustin has done, over 50.
But are these? I
They're
hate
indie.
to ask. Are these SAG Ultra Low, or are these SAG, or are they on non-union?
They're ultra low.
Wow.
What movie did you get your SAG card?
Yeah, great question.
Actually, it was a radio show. I don't even remember the name of it. It was so many years ago. I got into AFTRA.
Wow.
And
Then they merged.
Go on, tell us more.
So we got about 5 minutes left before
Plug
we have
away,
to end
baby.
the show. You need to start plugging yourself.
Plugging. Time to start
Time to
plugging.
promote.
okay, well, I'm on Facebook as Dawna Lee Heising. I'm on Instagram as Dawna Lee Heising. Please visit Amazon Prime. Visit my show on it. It's Ion Entertainment. I have 10 shows up now. The last one is with the cast and crew of Nemesis 5. And I'm really excited to be doing Purged, Horn Dogs, and Robo Woman with Dustin Ferguson. Robo Woman is like a dream come true. I take Tang Sudo Karate. I've been taking it for 2 years.
Good.
And so I have 1 million fight scenes in it.
Great.
And it's going to be a great acting role, too. And I've already told you about most of my future projects. And I'm hoping for some more great roles.
And where can people follow you online?
They can follow me on Facebook under Dawna Lee Heising or actress Dawna Heising. Dawna Lee. I'm always Dawna Lee Heising. So if you look up Dawna Lee Heising, you'll find me on all social media
You're the only one that
platforms.
spells her name Donna like that, because as soon as I put up IMDb, I didn't even finish spelling
D-A-W-N,
Donna.
Yeah.
Boom,
then
and you were the
bam.
first one that popped up. So
Yeah, so it's Dawna, and please write nice things.
Dawna Lee Heising, you are a treat. Thank you so very much for coming in. And on behalf of myself, Jeff Sargent, we want to thank Jimmy Shaw and Roy Moore.
Roy and Jimmy!
Roy and Jimmy on the Roy and Jimmy Show.
Yes, behind the glass.
And all you gotta do, all you have to do in 11 hours is come back here to chaoticradio.com for the Roy and Jimmy thing, 8 to 10 every Tuesday night.
Yay! That gives a reason. After you're done with your Taco Tuesday, tune into the Roy and Jimmy thing.
No, you guys, it was a pleasure. Always fun with you guys. Enjoying the show. Dawna, great meeting you. Wonderful interview.
And God bless you, Dan Rupp. Get well soon.
I'm gonna be. I got stuff on me.
Oh my God! He sounds just like.
Scary. You sound just like Dan.
I'll get my clown uniform in soon, so don't worry about it.
Really?
Yeah, our producer Roy.
Producer Dan.
We've already replaced our producer Dan. His main topics are clowns and rehab.
You're gonna love the movie Clown then.
I did cocaine out of my clown nose once. That's a long time
because
ago.
it's red and circular, you get more in there.
My legs are the size of an elephant.
By the way, in your green dress, your blonde hair, you look like Tinkerbell from Walt Disney.
Okay, it's photo session time. Roy and Jimmy will come out of the booth, and we're going to do our promo. We're going to do our group picture here.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. On behalf of the Jeff Sargent Show, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Ah!
And we are out.